Karate Kid Part 2. So after Mr. Miyagi learns that his father is dying, he and Daniel LaRusso travel to Okinawa, Japan to visit him. But when they get there, they have to deal with local bullies and a long-harbored grudge. Before I get started, if you enjoy this review and you want to see more that I post on Mondays and Fridays, like this video and subscribe to my channel by clicking right here. So I didn't even realize that there was a Karate Kid sequel until I started watching the Cobra Kai TV series on Netflix. And I have to say, I'm sad that I missed this, because this takes place in a rural area of Japan, which gives off a completely different vibe than the first movie. The first movie took place in LA, a big city. It's very loud, very chaotic, all that Daniel has to overcome. But in Mr. Miyagi's village, besides the bullies acting a fool, it's very peaceful, it's very quiet. Which works for this movie because it's about Daniel learning focus. Because he already has the physical capacity to be a great martial artist, but now he has to develop the mental capacity that goes with it. And I enjoyed that the different locations between movies reflect the progression of that character. It does make this movie much slower than the previous one, but it's still a good premise. Even though this movie is slower than the first one, the stakes in this movie are still much higher. Because in the first movie, Daniel just had to worry about getting beaten up a lot. But in this movie, Daniel has to worry about getting murdered. The main villains in this movie, especially the main bully Chozen, are honor bound. So when Daniel does something that Chozen believes dishonors him, the only way to settle it is for Daniel to fight Chozen in a death match. I thought this was a cool case of culture clash because Daniel is not about that life and his reaction to that is great, but it also adds more conflict to the lessons that Daniel is trying to learn in this movie. It's hard to keep your focus when there are people that want to kill you. And you can't talk about the Karate Kid without talking about the brilliant acting from Ralph Macchio as Daniel LaRusso and Pat Morita as Mr. Miyagi. First off, I loved how Macchio portrayed Daniel. He was funny, he was cool, he was a dork, but he was also very kind. He was a lovable character that was easy to root for. I don't believe those theories that say he was really a bully. Macchio created a relatable character that a lot of kids saw themselves in when they were growing up watching these movies. And then you have the late great Pat Morita, who created one of the greatest teachers in cinema history, Mr. Miyagi. Who doesn't love Mr. Miyagi? He was a kind, wise, and powerful person, and every time Pat Morita delivered this character's lines, I learned a valuable life lesson. This character was extremely influential to cinema, and it wouldn't be that way without Pat Morita. And Ralph Macchio and Pat Morita together, they have the perfect chemistry. You can genuinely feel the love they have for each other, and it's never a dull moment. Now, this movie was rated very low, but I don't think it deserves that. I do think the first movie is better, but this was a worthy sequel that is better than most sequels that are made today. The Karate Kid Part 2 is a fun ride that leaves you excited for more, like a roller coaster. Thanks for watching. Click right here to watch more reviews, and to see new reviews, click right here to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss anything.